Welcome to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Coach Lorianne Casdia. Our goal here at Healthy Lifestyle is to inspire, educate, illuminate, and empower you to fulfill a healthy, emotional, spiritual, and physical life so you can feel empowered to live the life you have always wanted and dreamed. Welcome to the show. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Again, we here on Healthy Lifestyle, we're going to give you some verbal caffeine and light you up with possibilities. Today on the show, we have the most beautiful Lynne Bowman, Lynne with an E, Bowman. She's the author of Amazon bestseller Brownies for Breakfast, has been featured at women's expos throughout the country, teaming with actress Deidre Hall to write and publish Deidre Hall's Kitchen Close-Up in 2010 and Deidre Hall's How Does She Do It in 2012. This woman is unstoppable. She's won national awards as a creative director for Silicon Valley companies, was creative director at E&G Gallo Winery, advertising manager at Redken Laboratories, and freelance for agencies in San Jose, Los Angeles, and of course, New York. She has also worked as an actress, a makeup artist, a screenwriter, an illustrator, a legal journalist, and television, get this, weather person. Stop it right now, Lynne. She has 3 grown children, absolutely perfect grandchildren, and is president of the Pescadera Foundation, which she'll tell us more about. She and her husband have a small farm on the coast of Northern California. And welcome to the show, you wild woman, unbelievably accomplished, beautiful human you. How are you, Lynne?
Well, I'm listening to this intro going, oh, holy gosh, that sounds so weird. When did she ever have time to have kids, right? How did you? Well, and it was so different back in the day, Lorianne, because all of those jobs were just part of surviving.
Sure. Yeah.
We didn't get there. And there will be a dog snoring in the background. Hope that's okay. He's
no worries. No worries.
Geriatric snow dog is right there.
Beautiful. So yeah, things were different when you were in business. It wasn't, now a lot of people take it for granted, but back then women weren't really in high, powerful positions. And yet you found yourself over again in these high, powerful positions, collaborating with teams, being a creative and just reaching out and being who you are. And I love that because that is so unstoppable and fierce. You didn't let those things get in your way. And I can relate to that because I was in C-suites and we hit that, what did they call it? The glass ceiling. And it didn't stop me. I didn't have time for that. I just kept going. I knew that it was what it was, and I was going to overcome it no matter what. And it sounded like you did that too. You're 76 and you are still going. I love it. It's fierce. What keeps you going?
I'm actually 77.
Oh my goodness. You don't look a day over 50. So stop.
That happens, right? It just kind of happens. And I love being this age. It's so fun to be too old to be prey anymore, right? But young enough to cause trouble, loving it all the time.
Love that.
And people chalk it up to, well, she's a little eccentric, well, she's outspoken, but when you get to this age, people start forgiving you, I think, for a lot of things that as women, when we're younger, just come off as brazen or, crazy or something. But when you're an old lady,
I think when you get to this age, don't you think that it's more of sage and you realize that it's none of your business what anybody else thinks and you're just going to be who you are and they're going to like it or not like it and it doesn't really change who you are. Do you think it's more of that?
I think it's more of letting yourself love freely.
Yeah.
Because when you're giving that out, you tend to get it back. And as a female, when you are past the age of being prey, it's suddenly okay for you to just love on people, on the world, on kids. I flirt with everybody, right? Puppies, dogs, kids, old people, young people. And flirting, I think, is an underestimated power. It's how we connect, right?
It's a relation. Yeah.
Another underestimated power, I think, is saying yes all the time. Yes. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll try that. Yes, I'll go there. Yes, I like them. whatever it is. And going back to being young in the business, that was what I always did, was I just said, okay, yeah, I'll do that. Did I know how to do it? No. Could I figure it out? Maybe. Would I find somebody who knew how to do it? And then, yes, but you don't get very far saying no.
Agreed. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was my same approach. I'll say yes and figure it out, and I say that to younger people. I'm like, well, just say yes, we'll figure it out. It's you learn through doing, right?
You do.
Yeah. And you kind of mute yourself if you don't say yes to the things coming towards you. So I just want to shift for a second, because your Brownies for Breakfast, Amazon bestseller. You can get it on Amazon, Brownies for Breakfast. It's a cookbook for diabetes. So how is your book, Brownies for Breakfast, different from other cookbooks for diabetes? And a follow-up question to that I have to ask, because I was like, so why did you include "and the other people who love them" in the title?
Oh, thank you for asking that, because I think it's really important. When you have a chronic disease that is managed or reversed by lifestyle, diet, it's really hard to do alone. The way to do it is with your family, with your friends. And here's the flip side of that is the way diabetics and heart patients should eat is the way everybody should eat. So this book, and you said, what's different about this book? Well, it's fabulous, for one thing.
Well, of course, it's yours, Lynn.
No, it's beautiful. It's very graphic. It's full of pictures. It's designed by a dear friend and collaborator of mine, Elise Huffman. She and I worked hard to make it look great, because food should look great. I took the pictures, though, purposely on my iPhone, because I wanted to promise everybody that their brownie would come out looking like my brownie. There were no stylists harmed in this book. It was just me and Elise. And so these are iPhone pictures that you're looking at of actual food made in my actual kitchen by an actual grandma, me. And that you can be, because what's different about the book, Lorianne, is that it is simple, easy, cheap, fast recipes that I want you to do over and over again. Who do you know that makes a different thing every day for dinner and a different thing for lunch and goes to the store and gets 12 ingredients? No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's not the life we're living now.
Yeah.
So if it's not easy, and all of the science, by the way, comes back very clear that no matter what you prescribe for patients, no matter what you tell people is going to heal them, the only thing that works, okay, does keto, does paleo, does carnivore, the only thing that works is consistency, is doing it. Stay with it, hang in there. And the diet, people are saying now way of eating, right? WOE. It's the grandma way. It's sensible. It's simple, and it's plant-based. So you can add meat or fish if you want to. That's fine. And I tell you how, and I tell you how to source it. And it is whole food, and it is real food. There you go.
Yeah, real food. I always recommend people, and this is what I do, is I shop the exterior of the food store, because that's the only place that you can find the real food. The rest of it has all kinds of preservatives and nitrates. And if you ever, there's some websites out there, you can compare the same product from the same company over in Europe and here. And in Europe, there's 5 ingredients, and here there's 25 ingredients, most of which you can't pronounce or read. And
I have that in the book. I have how to read a label, what's in there, what's not. And the recipes are typically 3 to 5 ingredients.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, those recipes that they have 15 ingredients, I'm like, no, too much. And it's not realistic. And I love that you bring it to a level where it's approachable, it's doable, it's realistic, and everybody can be successful doing it and feel good about it. And one of the things you had put in there is, having that support system is really important. It makes it easier when everybody's eating the same thing. But if you're having to make different things for different people, it makes it harder on you. And that weight release is just harder. And it's just something that you want to attain. Plus feeling better. Sometimes it's just feeling better. Our flour here has 42 chromosomes in America, because they've made it drought resistant. We are not drought resistant. That's why we're all getting leaky gut. We're getting gluten allergies, all these other allergies that never existed when I and you were growing up, right?
Right.
And the flour, I actually have flour imported in. It's called Caputo flour. It's from Italy, from Europe, and it's 14 chromosomes. That's how many chromosomes should be in our flour. It's digestible. I can eat it. I don't gain any weight. I feel good, and it allows me to, make my own breads, make my own desserts, make my own pasta. So I love that you do that. And you had mentioned before that it's all plant-based. So does the book have any meat and dairy in it? I think you said earlier that you make suggestions, right?
I do. I make suggestions and explain those things. But if you're vegan, you can use the book. There's plenty in there that is great vegan stuff. If you're vegetarian, good. It's all right there. If you're carnivore, how many different ways can you make a steak? So no, that it's not particularly that. And keto, yeah, it's that. And it's all based on what you've just said. It's real food, whole food, plant-based, because who among us doesn't need to learn how to eat more plants? In the United States, people are not eating enough plants. So there's some tricks and tips in there, like how to get dark greens in 3 times a day. Just easy, fast things. Always be sure to have that pot of parsley on your sink and snip it off and throw it in.
So how do we give us 2 examples of really good everyday easy things that we could do for the next. So it takes 21 days to build a habit, 60 days to build a lifestyle, 90 days rather to build a lifestyle change. So for the next 21 days, what are 2 things I can do to really move in this proper eating direction, where I no longer have to think about releasing weight, but just maintaining a healthy eating process?
Well, the one tip that I just gave you, I love it. And it looks good. It smells good. It works well. It's cheap. It's a pot on your sink, an attractive pot,
Yes,
full of parsley that you've snipped the bottom off of. And then I hope everyone has scissors, kitchen scissors. I couldn't live without them. And then everything that you eat, practically, you just snip off some parsley and throw the parsley on it. Sandwich, add some parsley. Eggs, add some parsley. Salad, don't forget the parsley. Just keep thinking about green, dark green. And of course, I always have in my fridge, either out of my own garden or from the farmer's market, which I prefer to any of the markets that we typically go to.
yes,
I always have arugula, and I chop it up and put it in everything.
yes.
It's so delicious. It cooks well. It's great raw. And if you don't know arugula and love arugula, and you're still making arugula jokes, eat some. It's
So good.
nutrition for you. And eat, of course, a ton of cabbage sliced up. And here's a tip. If you have a great taqueria anywhere near you, lucky you, we do. We have a great taqueria. And when you go to get takeout, yes, I do. This is what I get. I get a shrimp burrito. We live at the coast, so the shrimp is fresh and good. And I ask them for no rice because I'm diabetic. It's white rice. I don't need it. I don't want it. And I take it home and I cut it in half. I eat half of the burrito, but I eat it on a bed of thinly sliced cabbage. And if you have purple cabbage, it's even more beautiful.
Oh, yes.
And then I put it on and I put maybe a little vegan cheese on top, and I slop a whole bunch of green salsa on top. Parsley, yeah, sprinkle some of that on top, or more chopped arugula. And then I nuke it for a minute to warm it up. And it is not only more delicious, more beautiful, you're eating half as much takeout food and twice as much vegetables. So that's, I think, how you want to approach this is amp up the good stuff, and cut back on the not so great stuff.
Yeah.
And don't go hungry. I don't ever. I love to eat. I mean, I really love to eat. And, I'm not going to go around starving. But an important thing to know is that you want to eat earlier in the day. I'm done by 2 or 3 with my food.
Why? Why is this?
Because of autophagy.
I'm sorry. Are you swearing at me? I'm not sure.
Here's a vocabulary word for the day. And, we just lost Pee Wee Herman. And I mourn him every day. Paul Rubens, what a genius. And he helped me raise my children.
Oh.
We all loved it. And he always had a magic word of the day. So in memory of him, we will have a magic word of the day today, which is autophagy, which literally means self-eating. Kind of grody, but it's the process in which your cells renew themselves. They eat all the bad little bits that are floating around and recycle the bad bits that are floating around. And I'm not a microbiologist, and I'm not going to go into all that, and you don't care anyway. But it is something you'll hear, now that you know the word, you'll hear it discussed around intermittent fasting.
Okay.
Because the whole reason for fasting, and that's a funny word too, is that you have to allow 16 to 18 hours between meals in order to kick off this autophagy process. So you're going, wait, 16. But no, if you eat your last meal at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and then you don't eat again the next day until 9 or 10, you're good. What you're doing is you're cutting off the pizza in front of Jimmy Kimmel. That is where we all get, not me, of course, but where most of us get in trouble is in front of the TV.
Late night snacking is hard.
Yeah. And we eat too late. Our dinners tend to be too late. Families bringing home kids, it's 7, 8 o'clock before they can kind of gather the little ones in and do a meal. So it's hard. This is a habit that is not really easy for a lot of people to deal with, easier for those of us of a certain age or single folks, but vital if you want to improve your numbers, beat the chronic disease, stop eating late at night. And every worldwide tradition, except I think the Argentines, they're bad about this, but most traditions, the Ayurvedic tradition, for example, talk about this. You want to eat when the sun is high, when your body's cooking, when your personal stove is lit up and able to manage the food.
Yeah.
Of course, in Italy or in France, the meal is at noon, 1, 2 o'clock. That's when you gather and sit down and eat, not out of a bag or a box, but off a plate with utensils or your hands, if you're in some place where that's the way you do it. But another important thing is to not eat alone. We are all eating alone in this country. And so there is a terrible epidemic of these chronic diseases. Something like 85% of us now have diabetes, heart disease, etc. But also the loneliness is epidemic.
So we eat to kind of to feel soothed and nurtured. We put more in our mouth because we don't know what else to do. So that's kind of a mechanism we use to feel soothed. So yeah, by eating with someone else, first you have a conversation, you slow down your eating, which is better because you get full faster. I know I worked with this gentleman, I adored him, and he would eat whatever he put on his plate. And then he would wait 20 minutes before he would go get a second serving. And all the time he would never need the second serving. And he was very slender and he was very fit, but he says it takes time to catch up to know that you're full. So when you feel like, oh, I can fit more in, that's when you have that uncomfortable, oh my gosh, I ate too much thing. It's you need to stop with what you're doing. I also use a method where instead of using a dinner plate, I use a luncheon plate or a dessert plate. And that's what I feel. It looks like it's full. It looks like a lot, but it's not, too much. Our servings here are crazy in America. It's enough for a small family. It's for me, a serving going out is 3 meals.
Well, exactly. And that's why take it home, cut it in half, right? Or just put it in a box. If you're in a restaurant sitting down, bring it home. It's another meal. It's another 2 meals. And then if you slice up your cabbage and put, other things on the plate with it, now you're really talking. Yes, absolutely. And all the science is behind not eating alone for a number of reasons. The pace that you're eating, what is going on in your body and your mind. And we're now beginning to understand that this mind-gut connection matters.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're listening to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. We're going to take a short break and come right back and continue our conversation with Lynne Bowman. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Coach Lorianne. We're having this really amazing conversation with Lynne Bowman. She is just the author of an Amazon bestseller, Brownies for Breakfast. You need to really get that. It's a different way to eat, better for you, healthier. You and your family will love it. And we love to disrupt patterns that aren't working for us anymore. And this is a really good way to disrupt it. So welcome back. Welcome back, Lynne. Thank you so much for having this conversation with us. I'm so excited to have you here. Oops, I forgot a little business here. If you have any questions or comments, or if you would like to be on the show, please email us at healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. That's healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. I personally answer all of the emails and I enjoy it so very much. So keep sending those in. We love the conversation and look forward to answering more of your emails. Back to you, Lynne. Lynne, you have a support system in place is what you're looking to do to share this with people that you love. Brownies for Breakfast really help us learn more about the foods we're putting in our bodies, why they're good for us, why we should eat this way. And you kind of help people transfer from what they're doing now into something more healthier, right? And all they need to really do is get this book and they can start on their journey, right? Yeah, yep. And it's on Amazon and at your website, lynnebowman.com?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have to say, unfortunately, the price has gone way up on Amazon because the book is full of color photographs. And apparently that's become a very expensive thing to do. So I've got something, an experiment about to happen. I have recorded an Audible cookbook, which people say, well, why would you do that? Even Amazon says an Audible cookbook. Because about half the book is stories and conversation about food and the things that and then I talk the recipes because they're so easy. Some of them 2-3 ingredients, just like your grandma. I just say, well, take some of this and take some of that and put it together, and then you got. So I hope when it comes out soon, I'll hear from folks on whether or not the audio book worked for them. Because then what you do is you download the ebook. So you've got that you can cook from and look at the pictures, but you can drive along and hear me yakking in your ear about the correct way to get takeout burritos.
Yes, no, I love that. And in this age where people are listening to podcasts and radio shows and getting their information sources from that, not necessarily reading the book, you don't need a cookbook. You just need somebody telling you what to get, what to pick up. You pause it, you get it, you come home and you do it. And you kind of, it's like having you in my kitchen with me. I love it. I think that's I think it's a brilliant, innovative way to do that. So I love that. So just talking about the book, what surprised you most during your research and writing this book, Brownies for Breakfast?
Well, the big shock for me, I had it about half written, 3/4 written. Excuse me. And I went to a conference and this is not a thing I usually do, but I try and listen to the voices, and sometimes voices will say, do it, go, And so I spent the money, also hard for me, and went to this conference. And it was a lot of big names from Dean Ornish
Oh,
and T.
sure.
Campbell, people who have been stalwarts in the nutrition field. And I sat for 5 days through, I mean, from 8 in the morning, 8 o'clock at night, PowerPoints. And what it was data, and then more data about what plant-based eating really meant to the medical field. And these guys, people, I shouldn't say men, women, are mavericks because, it hasn't been acknowledged in allopathic medicine that you can heal with food. And these were people who believed strongly and with evidence that you can heal with food. And here were the receipts. And I was watching them day after day. So it was thrilling, interesting, and kind of life-changing for me. I got in the car with my husband, poor thing, on the way home and said, guess what? And he said, what? The thing husbands never want to hear, guess what?
Yeah.
And I said, I'm vegan now. And so for a year, both of us ate strictly vegan as an experiment. And it was surprising in many ways. It was delicious and interesting and fun and challenging. And at the end of that period, my numbers were gorgeous. I mean, your blood glucose, your hemoglobin A1C, the lipid profile, all of it looked great from an allopathic point of view. And I gradually moved back into more of a vegetarian kind of thing where I would add in some meat animal products when they were good, high quality, and when I felt like it, which is where I am now. But it was fascinating to me to see the data from all these people and then live the data and experiment with my own numbers and see what happened. So, and of course now, I also want to put out something soon, a short book, which will be about keto, paleo, carnivore, because if you go on YouTube now, you will see bros talking about each of those things as if, and they always say, this is the optimum human diet. And they're always wearing the t-shirt with the pumped, body and the, sort of sweat spray. And, okay, those guys, right?
I do.
And they spend no time in the kitchen, have never carried a baby. I mean, I could go on, but they are telling you what the optimum human diet is. And it's steak 24/7, or it's, some other thing. And it's very confusing.
Yeah.
Even those of us who have made a study of this.
Yeah.
Because they come out with very real sounding, evidence-based sounding stuff. And, you have to go, wait, so is it the steak guy, or is it the no meat guy, or is it the, or is it the fish 2 times a week guy,
Yeah.
or what? And so as a beginning, I hope that my book will help you relax about a lot of it. And a thing that amuses me is these guys are all 35, right?
Yeah.
They're talking about stuff. Hey, Granny here, diabetic, 77. Let me tell you a couple things,
Yeah.
If you want that kind of information, get it from a 95-year-old guy.
Yeah. Agreed.
Not a 35-year-old guy.
So what I hear you saying too is read your labels, shop fresh and shop plant-based, and also understand who's speaking to you and what's speaking to you. You got to do what's good for your body. Intuitively we know what we need to do. Habitually we don't do what we're supposed to do or should do. So with books like this and information, resources like yourself, Granny, which is amazing for me to even have to call you, because you don't look like a granny like when I was.
Granny. That's good. Grannies are good.
Grannies are awesome because they have the sage knowledge. How many grandchildren do you have?
2 so far.
Nice. Keep working on that. We love that. We love grandbabies. I can't wait for grandbabies. I'm looking forward to it. Not yet, guys, but when when it's right for you.
It's the best. Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, look at that. I'm always intrigued as to why our health system isn't promoting these factual information. And I'll never forget, I used to be a candy striper when I was much younger, Huntington Hospital in New York, big hospital. And I loved being a candy striper, but I would always speak to the dietitians. And this is not against Huntington Hospital, it's just an experience I had. And I remember we would serve, as candy stripers, we would serve the food to the patients on certain floors. And I'll never forget, there was this piece of ham like swimming in this sugary gravy. And this was from the dietitian who said, this is what you should. And I'm like, how is this possibly healthy? You know, ham is really, really salty. And then you have all this sugar in this sugar, brown sugar gravy stuff that they made. It may taste beautiful and yummy, but how is that healthy for us to eat? So why is the medical community so disconnected?
It-
No offense to the medical community.
because our hospital, the worst food you can find anywhere in the neighborhood is always going to be in the hospital cafeteria, almost always. Hospitals are not nonprofit for the most part, they're for profit. And a place that they can cut is in food, and they get rated on how good the food is. So they're always terrified of serving something that is not acceptable to everyone, like a hamburger or a piece of ham. But I know I've experienced, Lorianne, at going to a class, a diabetes class, and having the dietitian walk in, and she's 250 pounds. And right there you go, I don't, I don't think that's where we want to go with this. And so, yeah, it's been a very confused system because hospitals are not selling health,
No.
never
Yeah.
sold health.
Yeah.
And they're still not selling health.
I can say full disclosure, the hospitals around here, like Stony Brook University and stuff like that, they actually have chefs in, and the meals are nicer, and they have whole chicken, and they have like things that aren't dripping in sauce. I always look at, if it's dripping in sauce, they're trying to hide something because it doesn't have flavor. So it's not dripping in sauce, and they actually have beautiful vegetables now. And so full disclosure, some of the hospitals around us are transitioning to that, but there's a cost associated to that.
They're trying. And also, we now have more female docs than male in many cases. And women do medicine differently.
Agreed.
Having given birth to 3 children under the old system, all guys, and then watching my daughters give birth under the new system, women, real different.
Yeah.
Very different. And yes, that's a sexist thing to say, but we can back it up. We've got evidence. We have science. So
that's right. That's right. Oh, truth be told, as you know from your own experience. So men and women listening, think about it. Just think about experiences, you know, with medicine. We have to remember, it's an industry. You know, it is a business. And even though it's the business of medicine, not everybody comes at it with the direction that we all presume. And that's why I will always advocate for you are your best advocate. You know your body if it doesn't work for you. And if you're feeling worse with the medicine that you're being given, stop taking it. Then the side effects, and find something else that's going to work for your system. All of our bodies are different. My sister, we would give her something that should make her go to sleep, and she would walk the halls. We would give her something that would keep her up, and she would be out cold. So you have to know you, and you know you the best, so you're your best advocate.
And the smart thing to do is to stay the heck out of the hospital.
Yes, please.
Everything that we're talking about today, really, in teaching, is how not to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Because my youngest daughter is a nurse practitioner, and we talk about this all the time. And by the way, they're the ones who have their hands on patients.
Yes. They're so knowledgeable, nurse practitioners.
The docs are limited to 11 to 15 minutes per patient. You know, they are very proscribed as to what they can do. It's the nurse practitioners who are there with their arms around the patients in most cases. So we have, and she's, of course, most of her friends are docs. So we talk about this all the time. Yeah. But staying out of the hospital is your best bet.
Yes.
And the way to do that is to move, do something. I don't care what, dance, play pickleball, you know, do push-ups in your living room, have a treadmill thing.
Yes, yes.
You have to do it. And a thing we haven't talked about, but you just mentioned it, sleep. If you are not sleeping, and I talk about this in my book because it's all related. It's one system, one human being. It's movement, sleep, food, all together. And you cannot pull these apart.
Right.
I mean, they all function as one system, which is the way allopathic medicine is crazy. You got a liver guy, you have a skin doc, you have a, you know, a cranium doc, you have an arm and a hand guy. No, 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 right? And yes, if you break something, and I have, I'm a horsewoman, so guilty. If you need something put back together, we have a brilliant system for doing that.
Absolutely.
Our mechanics are the best. They're wonderful. And, you know, my hands have been done, and I know but if you're not sick, the way to stay not sick is to stay out of the hospital.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we have to remember food is fuel for our system. It's not, it shouldn't be a habit. It shouldn't be, it's fuel for our system. And it's real important to have that, as is sleeping. Sleeping allows our system to recoup and regenerate and do all the things it needs to do while we're sleeping in a resting position. Whereas other times, the same organs, the same parts of our body are doing other functions to keep us moving during the day. So we need to have that sleep. So you're right, to look at ourselves holistically, be our best advocate, read labels, understand what you're putting in your mouth, why you're putting it in your mouth. Look at the reading the labels will just terrify you. Once you read the labels, you'll never put the stuff in your mouth again. If you can't pronounce it, put the box back, put the product back. Because if you can't pronounce it, it doesn't work. Over in England, they don't allow that. You know, it has to be whole food. So it's real important. What's the one new habit that would make a huge difference in someone's health?
Quit sugar now, totally. And what you just said about reading the label is huge. And I'm thumbing through here because I have a whole section on donuts. I want you to make donuts, but I'll tell you how, and they're fabulous and healthy. And here are the ingredients in the donut that you buy.
Holy moly.
And here's the ingredients in the donuts that you make.
It's a huge page of ingredients that you buy, and it's what, 4 or 5 ingredients for what you make. So that's amazing. Can I see the cover of the book? For those of you listening on radio, you won't see it, but it's absolutely beautiful. Brownies for Breakfast. It's on Amazon, or you can find it with lynnebowman.com.
I'm really proud of what Elise and I managed to do with the design. I think it's fun and interesting. And I designed it so that an 8-year-old or an 85-year-old who hasn't cooked, anybody could cook from it. It's big type, it's easy. Pictures tell you how to do it. And it's uncomplicated. Here's cowgirl caviar, a fave.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a good picture of you. There's a picture of you sitting on a horse in the book as well. So that's beautiful. You have it's a lovely book. I love the quit sugar. That's a hard thing to do. It really is.
It's not.
Tell me how. Tell me how.
Easy. You just know how to replace it. And I tell you how to replace it. And I will tell all of your listeners right now that if they have not tried allulose, they should do it. Allulose is the one sweetener that nobody has attacked. Nobody has called it out and said it's not good. It's great. And there are others that work well too.
Is it all natural or is it chemical?
All natural. It's not horribly expensive. It comes in a powdered form. It comes in granulated form. It tastes great. Trust me, you will not know that you're not eating sugar, except that it won't make you thirsty and it won't make you sick. And
So
it's no calories.
Why don't we know about this allulose?
Because of the sugar, folks. Because there is this huge, big food, just like big ag, is stacked against you. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist for the most part, but there are buildings in New Jersey full of people whose job it is to keep you eating crap. The craveability industry designs food so that it's addictive. And I'm not making this up. There's science behind the addiction element. You are addicted to sugar. And The way to stop being addicted to sugar is the same way that you stop being addicted to heroin. You stop. You don't cut back. You stop, because your body will, for a week or two, it'll go, wait, what? Where's my sugar? But you have to get rid of it. And if you're still feeding your children sugar, if you're giving your kids soft drinks or sugary cereals or any of those things, you are abusing your children, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
If you don't know better, you have an excuse, but now you know better. So don't do it.
Can someone get allulose on like an Amazon or in the regular grocery store?
You can get it at health food stores or online, different brand names. I think one I use is RX Sugar, bad name, but just search for allulose, ALLULOSE. And of course, stop buying those things at Starbucks that are full of sugar and holding them against your gum. Dentists are screaming now because affluent people, professional people who think they're very smart about things are buying these sugary coffees and holding them against their gums all day and wrecking their teeth and gums.
Yeah.
And so the dentists are saying, what's happened here? This whole class of people that ordinarily would have been to the dentist and done all the preventive stuff and their teeth would be fine, they're rotting their teeth out with frappahuchis.
Frappahuchis. Thank you so much for being here today, Lynne. You're amazing. Quick, what's your why?
What?
What's your why? Why do you do what you do?
Because I need to. I have to. I'm a granny. It's my job.
Nice. Thank you so much for being here today. And thank you all for joining us in Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I hope we've earned the privilege of your time. See us next week. As always, we're going to see you next week on Saturday. Until next time, I'm Lorianne Casdia, Coach Lorianne. Play a higher role, serve a higher purpose, show up for you, and show up big. Have a great day.